Welcome to PlayPianoToday.com. This is a quick overview of Chapter 2, taken from Worship for Piano and Keyboards. Hi, this is David Sprunger from PlayPianoToday.com. Welcome to another edition of Worship Lessons for Piano and Keyboards. Today we're going to dig into a song called Strong Tower. We're going to take it apart, note for note and riff for riff, and see what's going on inside. Let me give you a quick outline of how this whole lesson is put together. Basically, we're going to go through the entire song a total of 4 times, if you can believe that. This is such an in-depth lesson. I'm very excited because there's lots and lots of stuff here. Basically, if you go through this lesson and practice with me and can play all 4 times along with the video, you will have gained quite a bit of information and ability on the keyboard. The first time, we're going all the way through the song up to speed with the band. Now, at first, I don't expect you to be able to play along with me up to speed with the band, unless you're a very, very advanced player. But I want to show that to you. Eventually, I'm going to ask that you play along with me. In the next portion of the lesson, we're going to go section by section. We're going to study the chords, the voicing, and the riffs. Now, we're going to go very, very slow. So what I'd like you to do is maybe look through the first time without sitting at the keyboard and just watch what's going on, but then go back and go through section by section as you're sitting at your keyboard and follow along and mimic what I'm doing. The third portion of the lesson is an overview and zoomed in to the left hand. Basically, it's an overview of all the left hand gospel tricks used throughout the song. Again, it's in slow motion, and what I'd like you to do, this is the portion that's really ideal for your left hand. Sit down at your keyboard. Once you've watched through this section, sit down at your keyboard and play this section through again until you can play exactly what I'm doing. So that's an overview of the left hand. The last time we go through the song is the entire song, both hands in slow motion. Basically, I'm not showing you anything new by this point. The video camera is zoomed so you can see both hands, but I'm going through without any background music, no drums, no cabasas, no tubas. I'm just playing the piano all the way through the song in slow motion, and I'm doing that so you can practice along. Once you can play through all the slow motion sections of this lesson, then I want you to go back to the very first thing that you're going to see. It's the full song up to speed with the band, and I want you to be able to play along with me. But basically, by that time, you'll know this song inside and out. And I'm not kidding. If you play through all the slow motion sections and you listen to what I'm doing and explaining, because I'm giving you lots of theory, you're really going to gain quite a bit. And you will not only be able to play this song up to speed with the band, but you'll have gained so much information. So I'm very excited what's going on in this lesson. Now, because the video that you're watching right now is just a quick overview of the full lesson, let me play for you just a quick overview of the full song. I'll play just a little bit of the verse, and then I'm going to jump ahead right into the piano solo section because there's lots of fun stuff in there. Here it is.
The Lord is a tower, but the righteous will run to be saved. The name of the Lord is a tower, but the righteous
Alright, I know that was a mighty quick overview of the song. However, I just wanted to give you a quick flavor of what we're going to be studying. Remember, in this lesson, we're going to go 4 levels deep.
We're going to start from the ground level and go through mighty slow in each hand and study all the riffs, all the chords, all the tricks that we're doing to bring this flavor to life on your keyboard. Now let's jump ahead. I want to play some video clips for you that are taken from the sections where we're really digging into the meat of the lesson. First, here's a section where we're taking a look at some really intensive music theory as we're looking through the chords that are used in the song.
Here's an F chord. Now, look, I've got a D in there, so it's called an F6. Now, you'll see later in the song, we have F13. What is the difference between an F6 and F13 chord? Let me show you really quickly. Here's an F scale. The 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a D. Now, if I count up 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's also a D. Okay, so F6 and F13 both imply that you're adding a D. The difference is when the 7th is present, like if I'd play this, here's F and the 7th is an E flat, and I'll put it down here. Now I've got the 7th present with that D. Now I have to call it F13. If the 7th is not present, I can call it F6. I know that's just a technicality, but it's still something that you need to know. When the 7th is present, you call it 13, and if the 7th is not present, you call it 6. Now, like I said, this may be a technicality, but it becomes really important when you're writing lead sheets for other members of the band. You want to write it correctly. If the 7th is present, call it a 13, and if the 7th is not present...
Here's a section where we're taking a look at a classic gospel rhythm and blues walk-up on the keyboard.
In the middle, it kind of has that nice little ugly spot, and you think, gee, how would that ever sound good? But watch how that happens in the course of that riff. It sounds really nice. It just depends kind of where everything is in context. Now, if you played this out of context, you'd say that was very ugly. But in context, going from the G7 to the D9, it sounds nice. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's just kind of a classic rhythm and blues gospel walk-up. Has a little bit of ugly in it to make it nice and funky.
Here's a section where we're taking a look at some of the chord voicings.
This is E flat 9 with the 9th on bottom this time. So you're learning some different voicings. Here's an E flat triad. The 9th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's an F, but this time I'm playing it down on the bottom.
Let's move ahead now. In the solo section, I spend time that's dedicated to each hand. Here's a sample from where we're looking at what the left hand is doing.
Now listen to the left hand in this section. Listen to the jazz voicings. That's the opening phrase of the solo in Strong Tower. But the left hand has these really nice open jazz chords. I'm going to zero in on what the left hand is doing because this is some really fat theory. We're going to talk about 9th and 13th chords and Sunday afternoon jazz. So let's take a look at what the left hand is doing in the solo section.
We'll also take a lot of time and zero in on what the right hand is doing.
Now the right hand is playing what's called the melody. That's the part that's taking the lead. The left hand is playing supporting harmonies, but the right hand is playing a melody. Now when you study melodies, there's 3 different types of notes that you can pick from. Chord tones, which are notes that are within the chord. Non-chord tones, which are notes that are not within the chord. And passing tones. Now passing tones are kind of unique because they can be chord tones or non-chord tones, either one. But they happen for such a short amount of time, we don't really take time to analyze them. Their basic function is that they're passing between notes. Those are the 3 types of notes that you can use in a solo. So let's go back now to the first line of the solo with the right hand and see how these notes that I'm using fall into those 3 categories. Let me play the phrase real slowly, the first phrase of the solo. And the main thing I want you to get and understand here is that I'm beginning and ending my phrases on chord tones. That's the secret nugget I want to give to you. Look at the first little phrase. Begins on a chord tone, goes through a couple non-chord tones, but they're passing, so that's okay, and ends on a chord tone. See that? Okay, then it goes on, goes through non-chord tones, but they're passing. Now we're to F, and guess what? I start with chord tones, because I'm on F now, right?
As you can see, there's lots of stuff to study in this lesson. It's over an hour long, and it zeroes in on that rhythm and blues black gospel technique for piano and keyboard players. You can download the whole lesson by going to playpianotoday.com/worship. In this website, there's a wealth of online piano and keyboard lessons that you can dig into right away, including this lesson.